So one of the things we said early on in naturalizing is we said to let go. Okay? Let go of kind of really held, fixed things and get really loose and get really natural. Great. Now we're learning some techniques. And as we're learning them, we're saying in assignments, now sing the whole song in this technique. Okay? It's good to do because you'll learn how to do it and you'll learn how to dial in your voice. Well, now, in making it sound musical, we start going the other way again. We start letting go, and we start letting our voice follow us because we've been teaching it how to work. So making things sound musical has a lot to do with that, with really kind of mixing it up and being free. If you're stuck in a technique, any of these techniques, that's what they sound like. So a lot of the examples on all the audio tracks, they sound like technique singing, assignment singing, I call it. Down at the ferry, there is a ferryman. Number one ratio, lazy buzz, closed nasal. Mixing it up, making it sound musical. Mixed ratios, for example. So down at the ferry, there is a ferryman. He can play guitar, and he's only got one hand. Taking opportunities, living on a vowel. I said down at the ferry, there is a ferryman. He can play guitar, he's only got one hand. We live on vowels, so even low like that. Higher, it can be even more dramatic. So down at the ferry, there is a ferryman. I'm mixing it up. Ratios. So down at the ferry, there is a ferryman. He can play guitar, and he's only got one hand. Mixing it up with the rough stuff that you like. So down at the ferry, there is a ferryman. He can play guitar, and he's only got one hand. Making it sound musical. Tails. Ending things musically. So down at the ferry, there's a ferryman. If you end really hard every time, it's going to be very clunky. Down at the ferry, there is a ferryman. Well, that can work sometimes too. So those are some ideas on making things sound musical.